What's up, guys? It's your boy Shady Mike Gaming, and in today's video we're going to talk about the best settings to use in NBA 2K25 to get butter smooth gameplay in 4K. I've finally cracked the code to get rid of that ridiculous and annoying micro stutter. Now, the most important takeaway from this video is you do have to understand that obviously these settings are going to be dependent on the strength of your computer. So if you've got a stronger PC than mine, maybe you can use higher settings than we're using in this video. If you don't have as powerful a PC as I do, you may still need to turn things down further. That's a given. But what you do need to know is there are some settings that specifically were just causing issues for me. And I think they're causing issues for people regardless of what setting to use based on some of the research I've done on the internet. So we will talk about those as well. I think it's important for me to let you all know what my PC specs are. My CPU is an 8700K, GPU is a 3080 Ti. It's 32 gigs of RAM. Installed the game on an SSD, NVMe, all that good stuff. I would say when I built my computer, it was considered pretty high end, but I wouldn't call it high end anymore. I'd say it's probably, towards the upper end of the middle tier. It's a higher end, middle tier, but you've got much better 7800 X3D CPUs and things of that nature out there. But at the end of the day, my PC still gets it done. I can play any game in 4K. So that's what we're going to show today, which settings to go through. So we're going to navigate in the menu over to its features, and then we're going to go over to video settings. So you see your graphics card on my monitor. I've got a 4K 144 hertz monitor. Don't know why it says 120, but whatever. Display resolutions in 4K. Obviously put this at whatever your monitor is going to be. And window mode is going to be full screen window. There is no dedicated full screen in this game. So a lot of people like dedicated full screen. I don't. I'm a content creator. I quite frequently alt tab out, and that usually just causes issues. Now, the number one issue with this game for me was the ridiculous micro stutter. And for me, that was caused by NVIDIA DLSS. Now, DLSS is something we have all come to know and love, and we use to give us much better frame rates in all of our games. So normally, anytime I come into a game, I put NVIDIA DLSS on and quality mode, and that usually gives you really good frames, really good looking image. For whatever reason, I think 2K's got a bad implementation of DLSS. It's not working for me. So DLSS for me was causing a ridiculous micro stutter. So my suggestion is you use native scaling, meaning no resolution scaling, or use AMD FSR2 or Intel XESS. I don't know which one out of these two are better. I've been using FSR2 at quality mode. As far as resolution scaling sharpness, I do not use it because as you raise this slider, I just notice more jagged edges. So if you want to test between AMD FSR2 and Intel XESS, feel free and then let me know your results. But I just had to get off of DLSS. I was playing for the most part on none, but to get some extra frames and get my frames up into the 80s and the 90s in 4K, I turned on FSR2. Maybe later I'll do some testing on XESS, and I'll get back to you all on that. I do have vertical sync on. Normally, whenever I run into any type of frame issue, I lock my frames with Riva Tuner. My settings there can give you more consistent frame times. I tried locking it on Riva Tuner. I tried locking it through NVIDIA Control Panel. None of them got rid of that ridiculous micro stutter other than turning off NVIDIA DLSS. So I just wanted to make sure y'all knew that. So right now my frames are unlocked, but I've got vertical sync on. I don't know how much that does because my monitor is 144 hertz anyway. So as we scroll down, ray trace reflections, I have turned off. Significant performance hogging setting here significantly will tank your FPS. And I personally did not notice a significant improvement in quality. So ray trace reflections are off for me. Texture detail is high for me. If you're struggling, you may want to look at medium here, but they're high for me. Our overall quality is custom, but I started from high and not ultra. We will go through these settings and come back to it. Stay tuned. Shader cache in memory is on, and the low VRAM indicator is off. I don't need to see that. I'll know if I have low VRAM because my game is starting nonstop, so I don't need the indicator on my screen. Let's take a look at the advanced quality settings. So shader detail level, I've got it on high. Again, you may need to drop that if you're struggling. Shadow detail level is high and not ultra. I did not notice a significant improvement in visuals with it at ultra, and for performance levels, high, gave me more frames, so I ran with it. Player detail is high. Now, one of the probably the second most important setting in this video, as opposed to turning off DLSS, is the cloth simulation. I don't know how much you all care about this setting. This setting probably resulted in a 20% FPS loss for me. The moment I turned this off, my frames went from like, 55 to 60 to like 85 to 90. So cloth simulation is definitely off for me. I am not turning that on. Crowd detail level I have on high. Unfortunately, I wish this setting affected the actual detail level and quality of the crowd, but all this does is affect how many people are in the crowd. So I wish it affected like draw distance and stuff like that, but no, it just, if you turn this to medium and low, it just looks like you're playing in like not an empty, but a less than sold out stadium, and I don't like that. MPC density I have high. Volumetric effects I have high. Volumetric effects is probably something you want to turn to low or off if you're struggling from frames. Ray trace reflections I've got them low, but we've got ray tracing off, so that doesn't matter. Reflections I have on high. Again, that's another setting, not super important. You probably, if you're struggling for frames, want to look to turn that down. Global illumination is high. Ambient occlusion is high. Anti-aliasing is on. And motion blur, I hate motion blur in pretty much every game that I play. I don't use it. I turn it off. That's personal preference, but I don't know if it results in any type of performance benefit, but I just don't like motion blur. I keep it off. Depth of field looks really good in your instant replays, so I do keep this on. Maybe later on in the year, I might turn it off as reshades come out that have it built in, but for now, I'd like depth of field off. Bloom is on. Max, I can't even say that word if I'm being honest with you. I've got it at 16. Now, usually this setting doesn't have a significant impact on your performance, but if you're struggling, if you've got it at 16, you might want to look at 8. If you're still struggling, you might want to look at 4. But moral of the story, y'all, I want the takeaway to be the most important settings is the cloth simulation, and for me, again, NVIDIA DLSS is an absolute no-go this year. It's unplayable for me. I'm switching to either none or AMD FSR2 or Intel XeSS, significantly smoother frame times and just an overall smoother looking and feeling game. Again, if y'all have any other suggestions for what you've been doing and changing that's helped you, please let me know in the comments. And if these settings work for you, just let me know how these settings work. What I would suggest, if you have like an extremely, because I get a lot of questions like that, I've got an extremely low end laptop or something like that. At the end of the day, y'all, you're probably just gonna have to get the overall quality and take it down to low. And then mess around with FSR2 and see if it's playable. But other than that, you all have to get comfortable on PC, tweaking your settings to get better performance. Again, if there's any questions, let me know in the chat. Make sure you like and subscribe on the way out. It's your boy Shady Mike. I'm signing out. Peace. Threes.